Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I'm going to go really fast today because I have a lot to cover. I didn't want to cut anything out. All the links will be down in the comment section below if I move too fast. So we woke up this morning. Ripple exec says China is a target. Company's world expansion takes a step forward. I am so happy for this story. However, there's a story that came out on Monday that I think is even bigger. I think it got glossed over. I think people didn't pay attention to it. And I want to explain why I think it's as big as a story as this. So I know everyone today was talking about China, but hang in there for a second. Now, if you are backing a cryptocurrency project or coin and you think, well, this is really a Ripple story, this isn't for me, hang on. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the banking industry. And if your coin is maybe providing some cybersecurity or smart contracts, maybe you're a settlement provider, maybe it's cloud storage or ledger for accounting. Cross-border payments, of course, is a natural fit. Maybe you're doing something with mobile. Maybe your project is in the retail sector, or maybe it's part of the brand awareness where they can build a relationship that's strong between customer and company through loyalty programs or rewards. If that's the case, then you want to know about the banking sector because this is a group that is moving towards blockchain to solve its problems. And it's a legacy industry, and so they have a lot of problems. And they want to be more competitive. They want to provide a better low-cost service and ease of use for their customers. So if you want to know a little bit about banking, hang in there. I'm going to just give you a quick tutorial. When we look at the global volume remittances, it is basically a $600 billion market. It's huge. This is the graph from 1970 to 2018. And as you can see, it's been on a steep incline, but it really got steep around 2002, 2003. I think that's when the world discovered that it truly is in a global environment in terms of trade. Now, when we look at this is a graph that is from 2008 to now. The blue is the cost of what it takes for the United States to send across a border, about $200. The red is the average for the global cost, and the dotted black line is the money transfer operator's cost. It hasn't changed hardly at all. It's still sitting around 9-10%. So you think 9 or 10% of those billions of dollars that are moving around the planet every day, that's a huge amount of money, and that's where there is a tremendous opportunity to save these banks, and that's why blockchain is so promising for this industry. Now, this is a McKinsey report that came out just a few years ago. Actually, it's 2015, but it's very, very important to understand that the complexity of cross-border payment transactions brings with it a relatively high failure rate. Okay? 2015 study by TraxPay indicates that about 60% of business-to-business or B2B payments require some kind of manual intervention, taking at least 15 to 20 minutes. Can you imagine? And these manual labors are in the form of trying to do, of course, corrections, but sometimes investigations, sometimes doing returns, and sometimes tracking down where the stalled payments are. So I just think it's very labor intensive. And when you do a transfer with SWIFT, you have 3 ways to decide who's going to pay for it. Now, standard is that the remitter pays. That's called hour. And that's where the remitter pays all fees, or the sender bears pay transaction fees. Okay. And you also can do a SHA payment. SHA is where it is a shared or split between the sender and the beneficiary. That is done primarily in Europe between countries that are within the EU. Most of them are doing shared payments. And then you have the BEN, and that's where the beneficiary pays the cost. But I just bring this to our attention because most of the transfers that are happening are where the remitter pays. So point A goes to point B. Point A, who is the sender, is paying for that cost. So that's important for this story. This is the story that came out on Monday. So Ripple plans partnership with many banks in Germany. Company's banking head confirms. As you know, the head of financial at Ripple is Marjan Delatine, and she worked for SWIFT in the past. Now, she says that they are in talks with many banks in Germany. And I just want to remind you that they already have a partner in Germany with Bank, and that was a first live payment they did with Ripple, and you can find that on their website. And let me quote for you from that bank, the head of product management. His name is Frank Boberak. He says that in the future, Ripple will enable cash to account and account to cash real-time payments, not just with Bank, but with institutions all over the world. So remember that they've already got a proven track record in Germany, and we have got a really wonderful boots on the ground woman who worked for SWIFT, who's there in Germany now. And which country sends the most remittances? So remember, those costs come from the sender. And in this cross-border money transfers, it's absolutely enormous. Remember, 583 billion was remitted globally last year. United States leads with 131 billion. Saudi Arabia, number 2. United Arab Emirates, number 3. United Kingdom, number 4. And Germany, number 5. Then is followed by Canada, France, Russia, Italy, and Spain. So here we have Germany in the 5th position regards to the country that sends the most remittances. This is important because I think this is the target list, in my opinion, for Ripple to go after in terms of being able to provide their cost-saving value. And Germany should have no trouble using Xrapid. I am not so sure. I mean, it's still to be seen. Will China actually use the XRP token? I don't know about that, but I really think that for Germany, it's a perfect solution for them to fit their liquidity. Now, when we look at China, China's currency only 25% of the nation's cross-border trade. Of course, that yuan is huge. The China trade in its home currency is 9.95 trillion yuan, or 1.6 trillion US dollars. So you can do the math. About 25% of that is what's going on a cross-border basis. It is an estimate, I do believe, because the bank, meaning the People's Bank of China, did not release the total value of yuan for cross-border payments last year. But we do have numbers up to 2014. So if we look at this, how much money is sent to China from the U.S.? So in 2017, nearly 64 billion was sent from the U.S. to China. All right, from the U.S. to China. But we also have here on the right, we have the numbers up to 2014 of the amount that was sent from China to the U.S. And you'll see there is just a huge difference. So we can see, like, for example, back in 2006, we sent 27 billion and China just sent us 3 billion. If we move up to 2013, the United States jumped to 59 billion, China 4 billion. Here in 2017, we've moved to 63 billion. And we don't have numbers from China because the last 3 years, I think China has not reported. But the last year that has been reported was just 6 billion. So point is that you need to look at where the money is originating from, because those are the people who are paying those fees. And I am thinking that Germany being in that 5th position, it's a big story. Okay, I'm moving on. This is SBI Holdings, and they announced today that they are part of a Pan-Asian investment that's going to the Vietnam e-commerce startup called Sendo. Sendo is a technology company that provides online marketplace, and it is seeking to tap into the country's booming e-commerce market. The investment, if you will. And along with those investors was Daiwa, and also SoftBank also participated in this funding. So I think that the money is going to be used. Sendo will use the acquired funds to expand services targeting merchandise sales of $1 billion in 2020. Now, remember Asia, Ripple, partnership, any partner that SBI can get close to and nurture is a good thing for Ripple. So I think this is a good story for both parties. This is just an example of the Sendo marketplace website. It has a little bit of everything. I mean, you can buy clothes, TV, diapers. There are beauty products. How about some quality men's underwear? Or maybe you need a coffee pot. Anyway, it looks like just a little bit of everything. I just thought I'd throw that in there. And then Ripple, 19 days ago, listed they have a new job opening for a senior software engineer for the Xrapid. And there's 2 things I wanted to point out on here. First is they got a very high company rating. I hadn't really looked at the Ripple company rating on Glassdoor before, but 4.2 is very high. Most of the people who leave reviews on this site are angry. They're like, I'm out of here. I don't want to work for this company anymore. This company has huge problems. I'm just going to get rid of some of my anger by leaving some negative comment on the review. But if you can achieve a 4.2 review on Glassdoor, you're doing very good with your company culture. And the Glassdoor estimated salary for this position, I don't know where they got this price, but if they're really only going to pay $155,000 for a senior software engineer, yikes. Let me explain why I say that. So the income needed to afford a median price home in every San Francisco Bay Area county is $187,000 annual income. $187,000. So I used to live in the Bay Area. Actually, that's where I grew up. And I just still know from having all my friends and some family there still, it's just kind of crazy expensive. So the new report is that you need that $187,000 of income just to qualify for a loan to buy a median priced house in San Francisco in the 9 counties. Yeah, so the Bay Area residents, it's just so expensive. The median price home is actually at $900,000. It's 4 times the national average. Woo! Yeah. I mean, Tokyo's expensive, but I don't know. There are ways to live cheap here. And then I just have a correction. I had said yesterday that the lawsuit was dropped from Ripple. Well, one of the lawsuits actually, it was filed in the state of California, and it now yes, it was dropped out of that California court, but it could go on to the federal court. So I promised everybody who left me a comment section yesterday that I would make a clarification on that. So the district court denied the motion to remand the case, but the document elaborates that the denial is available online. You can look, but it basically means that this guy, he tried to stay in the Northern District of California, but he couldn't. So now if he does move it to the next stage, it goes to the federal court. Now, if Ripple, one good thing, if Ripple were to win in the federal courts, then it has basically a blanket motion over any other lawsuits that are out there. So it really could play in the favor of Ripple should it go to the federal level. But I'm just definitely not legal advice for them. But I'm just thinking on common sense. Well, if they've got a good case and they win and it does get this kind of ruling in the federal side, it kind of gets rid of all the other baggage that's kind of coming behind, I think. All right. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm going straight to the fluff. I'm keeping it moving. So I made a mistake, right? I made a mistake by not being really clear yesterday. And I thought when I talk about a fluff story, which is talking about Japanese culture today, how do Japanese apologize? And there is a little bit of a difference here. Now, not everybody practices this, but in Japan, they do something a little different. First, I want to introduce to you, this is Yuki Kawauchi. He just won the Boston Marathon, and he is loved in Japan. He's what they call the citizen runner. He's not a professional athlete. He doesn't have a coach, but he did win the Boston Marathon, and he holds the, the world record for running 79 marathons. He is a salaryman, as it's called in Japan. He's a salaryman. He's a government worker. And back in 2012, he failed to qualify for the London Olympics. So to apologize to all the people who support him, he shaved his head. And this is something that is done in Japan, not by everybody, but by many people who are trying to display how sorry they are or to take responsibility for their actions. They will shave their head. So after the race, Kawauchi shaved his head in atonement for his performance. And he felt that I had to give everyone who supported me a sign of my remorse. Just touching, huh? He said, it's better than my shame be exposed for everyone to see. How humble. And for the case of women, it's very rare. However, it does happen. It did happen on this particular case, which is still very, even though it happened years ago, it still is talked about because it's very unusual for women to shave their head. But the Japanese pop star Minami Minagishi, she shaved her head. She got caught spending the night with her boyfriend, and she's part of the AKB48 girls band, and they have a very strict policy, and she knew about this policy. They are not allowed to date while they are part of the group, and she broke that rule, and in breaking that rule, she then shaved her head and gave a public apology on the internet. So I don't know if you knew about this custom or not, but like I said, not everybody does it, but it is sometimes done. All right, everybody, that's it. Thank you for hanging in there with me, and please take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.